Okay. So how long is the set? How long is the set usually on this North American tour?
It depends how many bands there are each night. For example, yesterday we had 5 or 6 bands plus our Obscura set, so we had to shorten it a little bit because people were so tired. But in general, we play at least 1 hour to whatever people want to hear. I mean, we have always some songs in the hand to play additional or something. It just depends on people.
Okay.
How many languages do you speak?
German, a little bit English, and a little bit Swedish. Some pieces of Italian and French.
You can get by.
Sorry?
You can get by.
I'm working on it.
Cool. All right, next question. Is Hannes playing his own kit, or is he using a rented one that duplicates what he has at home?
He uses his own kit that is rented.
Okay. All right. Now, Christian, is he playing any new gear on this tour, or is it strictly the same setup that he's used before?
He got 2 different 7-string guitars provided by Ibanez for this tour, with a little bit shorter measure. Because the guitar we used on Medium recordings were a little bit uncomfortable playing live, because the measurement is a little bit bigger.
Right.
It's actually made exactly for the 7 strings, that the sound is physical exactly right. All harmonies are correctly. That's a little bit better to achieve the measurement. It's hard to describe. Anyway, yeah, he got 2 new 7 strings, and but we still use exactly the same amps, exactly the same effects we use at home. We brought almost everything and rented the Engel stuff we use at home, exactly the same gear. So we're pretty close to the sound we have at home.
Okay, cool. Now, sometime in March, I'll plan on releasing the illegitimate.
That's all, folks.
There you go. All right, and it's got various great packages to buy from the Realm of Obscura website. So, how far back do the mixes of this release go?
The mixes?
Yes.
The whole collection is based on 3 different recordings. The first recording was done in 2003. Yeah, I guess the mixes we did in November 2003, I guess. And it's actually the first recording we ever did in the studio, and it sounds like that. But you know, every band starts somewhere, and we cannot deny our roots. That's where we come from. That's the material we started with, and I think it's okay. It's okay. We just started to release 1 song by every 1 or 2 weeks, exactly as the legitimation CD is made, like in the correct timeline. The second recordings were done in 2006 with the lineup that did the whole Retribution European tour and Balkan tour. We had like a second European tour, which was more in south and east of Europe. And exactly this lineup recorded actually songs that were supposed to be on Cosmogenesis, our second album, but they were completely different. As you can tell, I mean, if there are changing members, always a song will change. And I think it's pretty interesting for people who recognize the band firstly with the Cosmogenesis album, and only 1 song got used, that was the song Incarnated for Cosmogenesis, and the others are completely unreleased. But even Incarnated sounds completely different, I can tell you. And to round out the whole thing, to have recordings with all 3 main lineups we ever had, we are heading back to the studio in December this year and recording 3 covers that influenced the band from the first day up to this day. So it's Death, Atheist and Cynic.
Awesome.
I think it makes sense for everybody who's a fan of the band just to get it. The special thing about this release is we did it by ourselves. We released it by ourselves, that's why we did that Kickstarter thing. Essentially, the fans can decide if they want to have this release or not. We thought it doesn't make sense to release a demo collection via a record label, because then you find it in distribution and no new fan will have any connection to old demo stuff from a band if he listens to the band for the first time. So we thought about, if the fans really want to have it, they get it directly for us anyway. So that's why we do that Kickstarter thing, and it's a non-profit idea. everything that we get via that Kickstarter donations is going directly into production. And I guess we reached the goal anyway right now.
Right.
But if we reach, for example, like $7,000 or $9,000, we do not need to give that back. And printing a thicker booklet, for example, or bringing some extra posters or something like that. As I mentioned, it's a release.
It's
actually from the fans. Yeah, it's actually a release from the fans for the fans. The recordings with it are already done, except the covers, and I don't want to just give them without anything into the internet and drop them as a link on YouTube or something. That doesn't make sense in my opinion. And I think it's a nice way to get part of the Obscura family if you know that, okay, I donated for this project and I get exactly that back, and I can say, okay, I made this release happen. I'm a part of it. And I think it's a nice idea, and it's something we don't have to do, but we just wanted to have by our 10-year anniversary release everything we ever recorded up to that date.
Right.
It's a nice check on the last recordings we ever did. So.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good accomplishment, a good milestone, you know.
You know, it's just like from my personal perspective, it's like a look back on the early days. Like we founded the band in 2002. In 2012, that the instrumentation release will be done, and then you can look back and say, okay, the 10 years of work were not a waste of time or anything. It's just cool to look back and have all the free releases plus the demo tapes and everything. And I think it's a round-out release. If somebody's interested, you can get it. If not, it's fine with me. So.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, are you going to be playing any songs from that tonight?
From the Illumination release?
Yes.
No. But we will play one song of the debut album, Retribution. We just rearranged it a little bit and put it onto 7 strings, so it's a kind of special thing.
Okay.
So far, the reactions on the tour were a little bit diverse. Sometimes people got it and they think, okay, it's that and that song. But sometimes they were just saying, and okay, they don't recognize whatever that is, and they're just playing. It's fine with me, you know. It's like a new old song we just present them.
Yeah, kind of a bonus while you're touring.
Kind of.
Okay.
I mean, if you're doing our first headlining tour in the US, it makes sense to play songs of all 3 albums.
Right.
That was the idea.
Okay, cool. I noticed on the tour schedule that there's about a 3-month break between the North American tour and when your European leg starts.
Yeah.
What is that time used for? Is it just rest, recoup, rejuvenate, re-energize yourself? Or is it handle all the business that you didn't get to on the road?
Actually both.
Both?
Both, and I'm still in the university. I'm doing my master's in new media technology. And in January, February, there are all the exams, so we thought let's make a break exactly there, and I can finish that.
Right. Now, I interviewed you several months back, and I believe you mentioned you were working at a hospital, I think.
I do that as well.
You still do that as well? Okay.
As well, I do many things at the same time.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Last question. Are there going to be any contests for the fans as they come to the show? Are there going to be any giveaways or any surprise vocal guests? Anything like that?
If people are interested, sure, you can join me on stage singing Down to Cosmic Overload if you know the lyrics better than I do. So it's not that hard. I mean, as I mentioned before, we are a band you can meet anytime. We are before the show at the merch table. We are afterwards within the crowd and are able to speak to, have a drink together, whatever. I guess that's everything I can offer at the moment.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, well, that wraps it up. Appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you very much for the